If you've been watching any of my canoe videos, you've already seen a little bit of what I am about to talk about, which is sequence of events, timing, and rotation. So I'm going to play the video, we're going to slow it down, and then look at it frame by frame. The cool thing about human beings is we're all very different. Athletes, we all have different body types, length of arms and limbs and boats and all these things. So even if we're talking about the same technical factors, it's all going to look different in how it's applied in each paddler. So we're about to slow it down and watch what happens as she goes from the setup to the power phase to the exit and how she gets back to the setup. I want you to watch the run of the boat. I want you to watch her sequence of events. Really good reach. We really like how far forward she's getting. She's good at getting her weight on the blade, pressing up pretty early. I really, really like that. But what I've noticed is she's coming forward all at once, and then she comes back all at once. See how as she moves her paddle back, her hips come back, and then they stop. And they're still back. And look how far back her paddle is. And now we all shoot forward together. So what does that mean about the boat? It stops. It might even look like it's going backwards, which is not helpful when we're trying to make every second, every centimeter in the water, everything work to make the boat go forward at all times. So sequence of events. We bury that blade, press up independently from our torso. Once the power phase is over, at this point, at the very latest, bringing the hips forward and then the back and then the upper back. But instead, it's just all kind of flicked forward together. Another thing that would help with is elongating that rotation at the very last second. So if we do things in sequence, so pressure on the foot and then the knee block and then the hips forward and then the lower back and then the obliques, and then suddenly you're like, oh, I have more to give. I could rotate all the way up to my shoulders, and my pinky and my other shoulder can rotate backwards. And that's what I would like to see here. But instead, we see that her upper body is not as rotated as it could be. That would get her more reach. If she had more reach, her blade would be buried further. But right now, this is where she's buried. So she actually, look at her hips right here, from here to here. From here to here. She is using her hips, breaking at the hips to get from here to buried. If she just fell a little bit more on top of her blade while she was stacked, so what I mean by that is fully rotated so that her top hand is stacked vertically directly above her bottom hand and the paddle, then she would have so much more power put on that. Then her hips could pull back and she could press with her front leg, press down with those two arms, her chest would pop up and her boat would pop up. But instead, we are out of sequence and everything is just moving in one chunk forward and one chunk back. So that's what I had this paddler work on, is a sequence of events and moving her arms independently.